Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Good morning, Cayman. Happy Tuesday. Look at this weather. Cue Mother Nature. It's like she knew hurricane season is here. We needed a little bit of rain. The mangoes were just, languishing on the trees. And literally June the 1st, hurricane season started. And then all of a sudden, kaboom! There's the rain. It's like she's saying, I'm getting you guys ready for a little bit of action this year. Hopefully not too much excitement, because my little heart can't take it. My little pitter patter. Listen, I've gotten the all clear from Health City, but they tell you to avoid stress as well. So, oh my goodness. Okay, well, I'm enjoying it. Just be careful out there, folks. Oh my gosh, the accidents yesterday and over the weekend. We need a reboot. We totally need a reboot for all of you to go back to training class on how to drive properly, because whoo. Okay, let's put some positive vibes out there on the roads today. No accidents. Take your time, slow down, be courteous, use your indicators, give somebody the bly. It's okay, speed demons. You're going nowhere in a hurry. Now, Evelyn, good morning to you, especially this morning, because I remember, was it last week or the week before? CUC was on, and you were saying, oh, there's never a week in the Cayman Islands where we don't have sunshine. You know what they say? Make a statement like that, and God is going to make a fool out of you. He's going to remind you that there have been numerous times in the Cayman Islands where we have gone an entire week with overcast weather, rain off and on all week long. So it happens. It's nice that you only remember the sunshine, though. That's kind of funny. She's having a good laugh. She's like, oh my gosh. Yep, this could be one of those weeks, because so far we're already into day 2. And it's not that you necessarily have rain every single minute of the day, but you're not going to have enough sun coverage to gain anything on those solar panels. And trust me, those of us who have them, we feel it. Well, Tuesdays is one of my favorite days during the week. I love all days during the week because we're alive and we're well and we have to be thankful. But I especially love Tuesdays because I get to learn something. I get to educate myself, and you guys, by extension, get a little lesson as well. So today we have in the studio Tuesdays, Medical Rundown Tuesdays with Shamari and his gang of experts. Today is especially wonderful because we got young people, young Caymanians, who are demonstrating that Health City Cayman Islands is committed to the advancement of young professionals, and especially Caymanians, in the health field. So let's go ahead and welcome Mr. Shamari Scott. First and foremost, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you doing?
I'm good. Looks like you're at work this morning already.
Well, seeing as I was having all of the connectivity issues last time, even though I think it's fixed, because we have young people on, I had to make sure that the internet was going to stay on. So yes, bright and early here at work.
Beautiful.
but also to mention, I think it wasn't it last year that we had all those days of school being rained out, so it was far from sunshine.
I know. When she said that, I was like, she lives in cloud nine, because there have been numerous times when that has happened. In fact, I remember back in the late 90s when I moved back home and it happened for the first time. I was like, wait a minute, where's the sun? This is supposed to be, sun, what is it? Sand, sun, and sunshine, or what is it? I don't even know. But yeah, I'm like, something's wrong here. But
Sand, sun, and sea. Three S's.
And sea. There we go.
Yeah, 3 S's. But definitely. I understand. Only thinking about the sunshine. I remember when I was in tourism, there was one gentleman that I used to pass every day at the West End. I said, "How are you doing today, sir? Good morning." And he said, "If I was doing any better, I couldn't stand to be alive. We live in paradise." And I was like, wow. He's always so chirpy and always so pleasant, always had a smile on his face. So I was like, I need to be more like that.
Yeah, positive energy.
Definitely. Well, today is an exciting day, just because we have, as you mentioned, we're going to have 2 young people on our program. One, we have the pleasure of actually working with us, who would have started at the front of the house and moved their way through different departments, left, and then actually we were able to rope her back in, be one of the lead specialists for education specialists for the program we have that we call Healthcare Explorers. So what Healthcare Explorers actually is, it's a program built to spark the minds of young people towards STEM and or healthcare potential careers. And even if individuals are thinking that they want to go down that route, we give them a taste of what it is to be a doctor, to be a nurse, to be within a healthcare environment. And most times, it either encourages them to continue, or it lets them know that, at age 15, 16, that thought I wanted to do this, but can't stand the sight of blood. Therefore, let me choose another career. So we definitely are excited that when we first started our Healthcare Explorers program, we started with a cohort of 18. So we would have had 18 quality interactions, as we call them. And that first day, we have seen over 60,000 quality interactions that we've had through our various programs with young people. And people say, oh, but we only have X amount of children in the actual Cayman Islands, which is true. But you will find that the individuals who are very excited will have 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 different programs that they will come through. And we have young people who have gone through various levels of our Healthcare Explorers, and has even come back to then have a medical internship. We have Melanie, who is a physiotherapist with us, who went through the full gamut. When I went over to UCCI, was studying physiotherapy. She was the one who actually contacted us whether or not she could do the practical. We understood what we needed to offer, develop the program. UE, University of West Indies, they actually approved, and she came back. She got licensed through our CPAM for the Cayman Islands, which is the licensing body for physiotherapy and other medical professions here in the Cayman Islands. And she was working with us, and she then was able to branch off with a third party, and she is actually going to be coming back to us in a higher position. And those are the types of stories that make what we do exciting, and we look forward to seeing many more. And I always recall, and I think I would have told you this story before, when I was in tourism, there used to be a little trivia, right? Now, not 100% of those people who want to become this profession become, but of those that actually become this profession, 90% of them know before the age of 10 that that's the profession they wanted to be, and they actually do become a, which career is that? And I won't make that one of the questions today, but the career is actually pilots, right? 90% of pilots before the age of 10 knew they wanted to be a pilot. And that always stuck with me, because I think through to when I was in school, and there was a friend of mine who he wanted to be a few things. He wanted to be a bodybuilder. He also wanted to be a wrestler, and he wanted to be a pilot. And, he dabbled in the bodybuilding, but he actually eventually became a pilot.
Wow.
And I was like, that is so true.
Yeah.
He did say he wanted to be a pilot when we were in primary school. I so recall that. And then when we were first starting Health City, I remember Dr. Shetty having the conversation and saying that 95% of medical professionals, whether doctors, nurses, know that they want to be a doctor before the age of 11 or 12. And that's why he said, listen, I know that we're going to develop these programs. I know we want to get Caymanians, obviously, to be within Health City in the future. And it's a long run up. So we have to start from now. But we're going to need to develop programs that reach the children at the earliest of ages to spark those minds. And obviously, seeing it from an education perspective as well. You also need to know what you're doing early enough so that you can start to choose the subjects you would need to choose as you go into high school, in order to align yourself if that's really what you want to do. So anyway, we are excited that we've had over 60,000 quality interactions, and this year itself we've had over 14,000 quality interactions this school year, because we know we start in September, which would have been the most ever for Health City. And we're very excited to have the program, and also very excited to have Miss Shakira Connor, who actually is our education specialist. And as I mentioned before, she had left. She had gone through various departments, came back, and now she is one of two key members with our Healthcare Explorers program. And she also has actually given a lot of quality as well as innovation in the program, in that we now also, outside of our, and we'll go through the different programs we have, whether it's shadowing a doctor, the on-demand videos in schools, but there are science fairs whereby Health City sets aside a budget to work with the primary schools in order so that they can put on science fairs, in order to excite the young people towards projects and give actual prizes on the back end. And we do it with all the government schools, and then we're doing it within the actual private schools as well. And we're building that program, and we're excited that Shakira was the one who brainstormed and actually came up with that new product that we have in order to get more of the young people at a younger age involved in our programs as well.
All right. Good morning to you, Shakira. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, CMR, the listening audience, and the wider Caymanians. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yes, it's always good to see you.
About our program. So, like Shamari said, just to recap, our Healthcare Explorers program is designed to encourage students to consider careers in medicine, and to just kind of help them on their journey for students who are already interested in medicine careers. But even if you're still discerning, it kind of helps you to make that decision on if it's something that you want to do. But not only does it focus on encouraging these students to take up careers in medicine, but we also focus on the elevation of STEM amongst our schools from primary throughout high. So we bring forth various initiatives to encourage STEM whilst encouraging students to take up careers in medicine.
This is fantastic. I love it. And we also have with us, my apologies, Miss Brianna Smith, who is joining us as a HCE intern. So we'll put her on the screen as well. Good morning, Brianna. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. And you?
I'm good. Thanks. So nice to see you. So we'll be talking to you obviously about your experience as an intern and how things are going. But I think this is such a, I love this topic because number one, it sort of recaps, as we have before, the number of programs, and there's quite a bit. So I see Amjad asking, why are there not more Caymanians there? Amjad, stay tuned to the program and listen very, very carefully. Hopefully at the end of this segment, you'll be getting an A+ if you're paying attention, because they do a lot to encourage young Caymanians and students in general in the schools to really think about TVET, to think about STEM careers. They get all sorts of experience and like real hands-on through the programs that are offered at Health City Cayman Islands. So I think this is an amazing opportunity to expose our young people to this environment. And don't forget, folks, it's not just being a doctor. It's not just being a nurse. There are lots of professions outside of that in the medical field. I mean, Shamari isn't a doctor, although we joke around with him sometimes, call him Dr. Shamari, because by now he might be able to qualify for an honorary doctorate. But seriously, his background is, marketing and business development. And look at him now heading up a top-notch facility like Health City Cayman Islands. So the world is your oyster.
And Sandy, just because you mentioned it, I'm getting old. So before I forget, let me get it out. So not only obviously are we trying to encourage people to take medical pathways, whether it's doctors, nurses, etc. Very early, we also started to identify different areas within Health City that you don't have to be a doctor and a nurse to be a medical professional. So even when it came to, for instance, our TVET programming, we went through the Education Council in order to have our TVET certification to offer these programs. And then we were able to offer programs such as sleep lab technician. So we were able to train the first Caymanian sleep lab technician in the Cayman Islands, right? We were able to actually CSSD to get a certification. Don't ask me what it stands for, but it's the job of sterilizing all of the instruments and the such when you're actually in the operating theater. We had the first Caymanian that was actually certified in CSSD as well. Medical records has a certification that we got, as well as from a phlebotomy perspective, we were able to work with and sleep lab as well as phlebotomy as well as CSSD certifications. We're working with the body in the US that when our young people get certified in these areas, and yes, they're working with us, if they were to ever leave us, they could easily go to the US and have a skill and a job in that field because they're certified by the body that says, yes, you are of great quality and would be able to do it. So we always try and figure out the various elements of how we can not only help to get doctors and nurses, which obviously is a longer throughput to the back end, but in the short term, and these are young people who would have worked at the front desk, who would have been porters, who would have been made their way through in medical secretaries, and then we eventually see who is interested, and obviously these are young people who say, you know what, I'm interested, I'm willing to put in the work and the time, and we sponsor them through scholarships and the such and grants to be able to obviously do it while they're working with us, but also pay for the certification. And in a few instances, they've had to fly to either the US or Jamaica to take the actual test outside of the practical that we're doing. And we put our support in those programs because we want to see young people becoming successful. And it was the same way that when I was in, I always pull on other experience. When we were in tourism before, I remember that as an organization, it was great because we all believed in training as many of our young people and the regular Cayman Islands Department of Tourism staff. And I remember at one time, somebody made a comment. There's like, we're spending all these money training all of these young people, but they're leaving us and they're going elsewhere. And at that point in time, we had a very young managerial core at the Department of Tourism. And I was saying, but what are they supposed to do? Sit here for 5, 10, 15 years and wait for us to retire before they get an opportunity. No, we've skilled them. And even though we paid for it and they left, guess what? They're going to be successful. They're going to be valuable to the Cayman Islands, and a few of them will return. And sure enough, many returned years later when there was opportunity, but others that did not return are doing great things in industry. And it's just building that tree of young talent that's able to go out. So we have even had a few that we've trained and who have left us, and that's great. You go, you get the additional experience, and the doors are always open for people to come back as well. So it doesn't matter if somebody leaves you. If you've helped them, it's going to benefit the Cayman Islands.
Exactly. And, to sort of, I see Jean is trying to help answer Amjad's question, but there is a real logical point here, is that you need, as you open on day one, you can't have everybody be a trainee. You need professionals to get in there to be able to open your facility. This is any business really, and to get the job done. But your commitment, which is what you need to look at, Amjad, and what we're talking about here today, your commitment to fostering an environment that focuses on training, on opportunities, and creating an entire TVET program that is accredited. What other medical institution in the Cayman Islands has done that?
And just to mention that and when we first came into the Cayman Islands, that being Health City, which is a branch of Narayana Health, there weren't a lot of multi-generational Caymanians in healthcare, right? So it's not as if you had dozens of Caymanians that were there, that were already trained, especially at the highest level, right? So you would have had primary, secondary care, but we were bringing tertiary care, right? Cardiac surgery that had never been done in the Cayman Islands, the first cath lab that has never been here in the Cayman Islands. But all of that being said, 70 to 75% of our non-medical staff are Caymanians, right? We have, and I mean, I'll hold up these numbers against even, not to upset anybody, but even against some of the large companies, let's say in hospitality, right? 100% of our security personnel are Caymanians. 100% of our housekeeping are Caymanians. 100% of our drivers are Caymanians. So in areas that we make sure we do. And even when we then move to a point where we're like, okay, we're going to outsource security to a local Caymanian firm, we made it part of the contract that 90% of their employees that work at Health City have to be Caymanian, and they have to show us that they're Caymanian. So, who is doing that? And there may be companies that are doing that. But, we are committed and we are trying our best. And once again, it's a throughput that will take time for our young people to go abroad to actually get qualified, and for those that come back, for there to be opportunities, and not only within Health City, but wherever they would want to go as well. And there needs to be a program where we will actually bring on the dozens upon dozens of young medical professionals that are actually away, and through their words verbalize that, what really helped me to understand that I wanted to be in healthcare explorers. What really helped me to get into that university, when I was able to go and do an internship in India. I put that on my resume because it's very competitive to get into medical school. And they were able to see the hours I had put in, what I'd seen in India. And they told me at the back end of my admission that experience in India really helped to separate you from the other students. And Shakira will be able to even understand our SURF program, which is our under fellowship research fellowship, where we bring students throughout. They get to see various elements, and on the back end you get a case, which is a potential, like a scenario of a patient, and you actually speak to how you would treat the patient based on everything you've learned. And we've even heard that program has helped some of our young people who say their counterparts from other countries didn't get that type of experience.
Wow.
So this is just a small snippet of some of what we're doing as well.
Wow, fantastic. Now, folks, don't forget that one of the benefits as well is Health City Cayman Islands is actually a Joint Commission International JCI accreditation. This is really the gold seal for people in the medical profession for hospitals. And so they've got multiple accreditations that, makes people envious of them, to be quite frank and honest, if I can use that term. But that means that young people who go there and get the experience within that environment are getting the best of the best, and that helps as well. When he said, like Shamari just said, when people see, oh wow, you've had experience in this, and this, but it's at a facility that is JCI accredited. That's a different standard, right? That's just not any run-of-the-mill hospital somewhere in some nook and cranny in the Caribbean. No, this is like top notch, right? Gold standard. So I think that is also significant and very, very important. So Health City has been around. They've just celebrated their 11th year. By the way, we're doing some giveaways today, Shamari.
We're going to do one giveaway today because the last Tuesday in June, Dr. Benoit and I will be on to talk about our anniversary. And that's when you're going to get the full slew of giveaways. Our 11th year. So you're going to get 11 giveaways. All right.
Ooh la la.
So now I know Kifra is in the background saying, what is he? He's promising that? Yes. 11 giveaways for 11 years. Only makes sense.
Fantastic. All right. So we see them celebrating their 11th anniversary and 11 years of Healthcare Explorers, again, from day one, really demonstrating a commitment, which I think is amazing. So way back in June of 2014, they started with their first cohort, their first class of 18 students, and they continue to elevate the level of STEM education in the schools. And the Explorer program, as Shamari mentioned earlier, really trying to give young people who are considering a career in health or allied healthcare an opportunity to get some hands-on experience, to kind of see what that means for them. Because again, we've all been there where we have a vision of what it means to be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. And when you get in there, you're like, okay, this is very different, sometimes different in a good way, and you're motivated even more. And then sometimes different where you kind of reassess whether your personality and your real interest is in that area. So early experience, I think, makes a difference.
And we even have one young man who, and I can't fault him because I guess the TV does a number for you, especially back in the day, where he thought only females were actually nurses. And he was a young man who came through at the age of 12. And because he was going through various programs, he got to see that there were male nurses. And it sparked his mind and he was interested. And sure enough, he came back, he interned, and he eventually became a nurse. If it wasn't for Health City and for him seeing firsthand that there were nurses that were males, he wouldn't have known that that's what he wanted to do with his career. And when I was younger as well, I know today, if you watch medical programs, they have male nurses. But back in the day, if I recall, there were only female nurses. So I also would have had that false impression prior to really understanding what healthcare delivers. But you're right. Just coming within the environment helps to spark minds either to want to go further or in some cases to say, you know what, maybe this is not for me. Let me go figure out what else I can do with my life.
Fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, folks, 936-2626. Phone lines are always open when Health City is here if you have a question for them. Claudia has a question. She says, what about other young adults who may be looking into the medical field, but not able to benefit from the relevant subjects during their mid/high school years? So do you take in, maybe people in their 20s or a little bit older?
I mean, we have various programs that Shakira can go through, from shadowing a doctor to internships. And I think that question is if they weren't taking, I guess, STEM-based subjects, but we take anybody who's interested in the medical field. Obviously, at times we have programs that are limited and there may be an interview process in order to get in. But we've had students that didn't necessarily know they wanted to be a doctor or a nurse, but were interested in healthcare. And we've had them within the cohorts we've had throughout. And the good news is that we are touching kids from the youngest of ages in schools. We have on-demand videos that we actually look at the science subject areas, and within the curriculum, the areas, for instance, if it's light magnets that they need to teach for that semester, we'll figure out what in the hospital uses lights and magnets, and let's say an MRI machine, and then we're able to simplify it, explain how it works within the machine, and then that actually helps the teacher to complete that course by actually tying what we are doing from an on-demand video, and they can show it in the class, and they achieve their goal, and we achieve our goal of getting young people to think of outside of the box of how you can apply science into a medical field and into Health City and some of the jobs that come about. And just because the person raised the question, we even have a recent internship where there is a young person who is, I think he's around 21, who is interested in medical engineering or bioengineering at the least. And we then looked within, and it's a third party that does that for us. And we are working to pay the stipend as well as to help to formulate the program by using their expertise to develop an internship program for that young Caymanian to come in to figure out if this is actually what he wants to do and the different areas that he could potentially use that degree after he finishes. So, for the most part, we try and figure out how we can help young people using what we have at Health City to put them on a career path for excellence.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Morning, Miss Sophia and Sherry Ann here with us. Lots of people listening. Well over 200 now. So let's talk about, and go through just a list of the HCE programs that are available. Miss Shakira, feel free to take this one away.
So, Sandy, we have several programs that we offer throughout Healthcare Explorers. So as Shamari would have just spoken on, our on-demand videos. And our on-demand videos, they basically align with physics, biology, and chemistry. So we have a wide catalog of videos, and they're taught by our own consultants and allied health professionals. And we just have topics ranging from anatomy of the human heart. We have physiology and pathology of the lungs. We have the human skeletal system. We have how does the ears work, so explaining sound. We have nutrition, so explaining healthy eating habits. And we liaise with the science leads. We work closely with them to see what videos they would have needed to teach for that year in school, or what videos that they might need in a certain area, whether that's, again, chemistry, biology, or physics. And they really understand the assignment. Our videos are benchmarked to the national curriculum standards. And these videos actually really help the students to understand something that might be that is being taught in the school, and they help them to kind of understand the topic better. And our videos cater to primary through high school. So we have videos that we that primary schools can subscribe to, and it's our most subscribed product. Whereas we're finding that a lot of the teachers, now that they're seeing how the videos actually really align, and it's making it easier for the kids to understand chemistry, biology, and physics. Now we've seen a drastic increase in just the requests for subscription to our videos. So that's our on-demand videos. And then on the screen, you would have also had Explorer internships. But before Explorer interns, so Brianna would have been in the 2023 cohort for SURF. She would have been one of the students that had joined us for SURF 2023. Brianna is interested particularly in physiotherapy. So she's really interested in that. Brianna would have spent a lot of her time. I know you heard Shamari speak about Melanie, which was one of the success stories, who put in all the work, got her her qualifications to become a physiotherapist, came back to Health City, worked with Health City, and Brianna would have spent a lot of her time shadowing Melanie. Brianna enjoyed the internship so much that I think she might have done an extra week or two. Brianna, you came back and you had requested to do that. Yeah. And Brianna would have understood SURF in the terms of our summer undergraduate research fellowship is a 1-month program. It happens every July. This year is going to start on the 30th of June and run until July the 25th. So it's a 1-month program. We offer a stipend of $1,000, and we accept 20 students into the program. But that program would have ideally been around a real life case study, a patient who Health City actually treated. They were brought to the hospital. The students understand how every minute counted in the success of that patient's treatment. They get to see simply the doctors, Dr. Benoit, cardiac thoracic surgeon, who would have worked on the patient. They get to see the role Dr. Druva, the anesthesiologist, played, but they get to see where Dr. Naranjan, our own orthopedic doctor, worked on the patient. This patient would have had run into multiple difficulties when the patient was brought to Health City. He would have had a pole stuck going through the lungs and his chest, and they would have had to bring this patient over to radiology. But because a pole was going through the patient, they couldn't get the patient into the CT scan. So they had to call in the fire services and get them to, help with cutting this pole. And after that, then they saw where the patient then, after being able to do the CT to see what was happening inside the patient's body, then they ran into another difficulty with the anesthesiologist, Dr. Druva, who he would have had to administer anesthesia to the patient. But because a pole obviously is going through the patient could lie on his back, and anesthesia is usually administered to patients on the back because it would have made it easier for the tube to go into the patient. So they had to turn the patient to the side. And then, as Dr. Benoit said, time was of the essence. He had to go in, open his chest up, start to work on, knitting, reconstructing the lungs. And then the surgery took about 6 hours. His rib cage would have been broken. He had a shattered elbow that they would have had at the time decided to have Dr. Naranjan hold off on that surgery until a week later. And these students get to see the multidisciplinary approach where we would have had various consultants coming together and working on that patient. But not only, I know sometimes we think that it's just the doctors, but they get to see the role that the nurses played. They get to see where the radiologists would have been of utmost importance in getting that CT done. And just the overall approach, they get to see where the physiotherapist would have been important in getting that patient home within a week and rehabilitation. And they get to see, not only do they get to actually understand the case study, but then they get these actual same doctors. So Dr. Druva is still there, Dr. Benoit, Dr. Naranjan, come in and actually give these students a lecture on the role they would have played. The students get to ask questions, and they also get to shadow these doctors in the various areas. I remember one particular surf, I think that would have been 2024. We had 2 students who they would have got the lecture from Dr. Benoit, watched the case study, and then watched a surgery of the heart. And they called me and they said, we eagerly need to talk to Dr. Benoit. We have some questions that we really, really want to ask him that's burning. And Dr. Benoit made the time. He said, Shakira, bring them down to the office in 5 minutes. And this is what our doctors do. They really, really make the time for our students. They allow them to shadow and they answer any questions. And the summer undergraduate program. So after they would have watched the case study, got an opportunity to have the lectures from all of the departments that work together in this case study shadow, then they have to write a research paper on what they would have learned and the approach to treating this patient.
And just to tie it together, not to cut you, Shakira. So that case that Shakira was speaking about with the pole was a chain link fence that was hit, and the pole went through the chest. The survival rate, based on the positioning and whatnot, would have been less than 10%.
Wow.
And because we have outside of Healthcare Explorers, all of these medical professionals here who would have seen thousands of cases, they were able to treat it. But the part to tie it together, the CSSD tech who would have sterilized the equipment was actually the brother of the individual who was in the accident. So it's just to tie it together that here we are, a young person would have helped to save his brother's life, which outside of starting with House City and obviously having an interest and becoming a professional in that area, he played a role in saving his brother's life, unbeknownst to him at that point in time.
Yes.
But just to
Wow.
tie it together, how, and it also is a program that's now helping to teach other young persons. And it was a young person whose life would have been saved based on the expertise as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so crazy. Yeah. Wow.
So
Thank
that's
you.
kind of what the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship is about.
Mhm.
And then we would have had, again, students like Brianna who would have gone through the SURF program, and now she's back for an Explorer internship. I think Brianna,
And can I just say on
yeah.
this experience, it was really like eye-opening to hear from the doctors themselves, like what they did in the surgery, how they, contributed to helping this patient. I think sometimes we think about doctors as superheroes and we don't really get to hear a lot about, what they do behind the scenes. But like getting the lecture from the practitioners themselves, the medical professionals, and letting them telling you what they have done in real life, it kind of makes you sit back and think, maybe I can do this, maybe this is something I want to pursue. I can be a part of this, process of getting someone from 0 to 100.
Wow. Fantastic.
So
Very, very
Brianna would have completed the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship in July. She was an A-level student, right, Brianna, at Cayman
Right.
Prep at the time.
I just
And now
completed
you're going on to do your bachelor's in sports medicine.
First
Yeah. And I want to say you started yesterday, right, for your Explorer internship. So you're back for that, and I'm pretty sure she's excited. She's going to do 1 week. So this week she's in physiotherapy. Then she goes on to ortho the next week, because pretty much ortho and physio go hand in hand, right? But then there's some students, obviously patients would have had an orthopedic surgery, but then the rehabilitation process or doing the physiotherapy after would have been of utmost importance to their healing. So the program offers, flexibility and seeing how each department works hand in hand. And then I see Brianna is doing, she's going to do medical oncology, and you're doing, for the third week, you're going to do some cardiology.
Cardio surgery.
Yeah. So, and that's just her branching. As we say, kids are still discerning. The students are still discerning. She might have thought, she might be on this journey to physiotherapy, and cardiology just spark something in her while she's on the Explorer internship, as well as doing medical oncology, which would have been, the treatment of cancer. Then that might spark something. And we just assist and we give those students room to grow and not let them think that they have to stick in just one particular area. So that would have been the Explorer internship she's doing. It's more for senior university students, and they do 120 hours of the internships. So that's another program that we have here. I see that we have the virtual field trips. Virtual field trips, again, students are just given the opportunity to tune in live with one of our own consultants and watch one of our videos, one of our on-demand videos, and then have a live Q&A. And the students get to answer, the doctors answer any questions the students may ask. For me, virtual field trips is fine, but I prefer on-campus field trips. I believe in getting the students in the hospital so they can actually see for themselves, because some of the students have some misconceptions. In particular, obviously, Healthcare Explorers does career fairs. We do career fairs on primary school to high. We do the Chamber Careers Fair. We do HCCI. But in particular, when going out to the primary schools, when we come to them and they say, "Miss, where do you work?" And I say, "Well, I'm at Health City, the hospital." And they're like, "Oh, well, Miss, I've been there. My mom took me there." So I'm like, "Are you sure you've been to the hospital?" They're like, "Yes, Miss, I went to Georgetown Hospital. I'm telling you." So when they get into East End now, when they get in on campus, they're like, "But Miss, this isn't the hospital I was telling you about. When did you say this was here from?" And I'm like, "This hospital has been around from 2014. So it clears up some misconceptions for the kids. The kids, they get to learn about the various services that we offer. I like to play a game with them. I say, you name the body part, I'm going to tell you the doctor. So if they name the lungs, I say pulmonologist. If they name the heart, I say cardiologist. They name the back or spine, I say neurosurgeon. And they get to learn a lot. And they also get to see where I would have taken them into the vitals room, explain the vitals that the nurses take before seeing the doctor. All of this is pretty much easy for them. They can tell me that this is where you would do your blood pressure, your height, your weight, your heart rate, your temperature. And they explain to me why is it important to know these things. But then we journey them through the lab. So they get to learn about the various diseases that can be tested through the blood. They get to see our blood bank. They get to see where we store the blood in our plasma. They get to speak to the lab technicians. They get to understand why it's important to have blood donated. And they actually get to see the white blood cells through the microscope and understand that is what helps in fighting infections. And again, it clears up some misconceptions. Sometimes students come into the lab and they say, oh, well, Miss, we can do our blood pressure monitoring through blood. We have to do it through blood. But by the time they would have crossed the vitals room, they would have realized that they could have just used the BP monitoring machine. And then they journey over to radiology, where they would have seen for themselves the MRI machine, understanding that machine is highly magnetic. So they're like, Miss, you're telling me that if I go in there with a piece of metal, I'm going to get sucked in. And they get to see the CT machine, understanding that this machine has radiation. The radiologist actually shows them videos of, internal parts of the body. And they're like, oh my gosh, Miss, I can actually see that part of my body through these machines. They understand that this is how doctors make diagnosis. And they understand that even after these tests, that not all the time a patient is going to require surgery, or that it might just be that they don't need any intervention. Nothing might be wrong. They might just require some physio. They might require medication or treatment. And then on their last stop, they get to journey down to the consultant's office, where they would have just met one of the doctors, see how a doctor's office looks, and ask questions. And on our on-campus field trips, we like to offer lectures. So after the on-campus field trip, we give them the option if they want to go upstairs. If they had chosen a topic, a very popular topic for on-campus field trips this year would have particularly been nutrition and healthy eating. A lot of the teachers said the kids doesn't want to eat breakfast at school, or they just believe in eating chips all day. So that was a big shout out to Michelle and Isabella, our dietitians. They really, really assisted with carrying out those lectures after the on-campus field trips. But that's what it is. It's getting the students in the door, getting them to ask all the questions, the doctors being there, and just allowing them to journey through and see for themselves what a hospital is like. So this particular program year, we would have had a clean sweep, just with the exception of one primary school, and I don't feel so bad because they took part last program year. But we would have had Easton, Northside, Boddingtown, West Bay Primary. We would have had Prospect, Savannah Primary. Pretty much all of the students coming in for on-campus field trips this program year. So I was really, really excited about it. I think we're at the highest number we've ever seen in on-campus field trips. So I was really, really happy about that. And they also go back and write a report on what they learned. So they're not just coming, the teachers allow them to go back and say, hey, you have to actually write a report on what you learned at Health City.
Right. Wow. Lots going on, Shamari.
So,
yeah, and just to mention that I was so pleased. So I always have to think of the actual name, the Edna Moyle Primary School, because in my head it's still Northside
Primary, yeah.
Right, Northside Primary, right? And when I was there, other hat on with the Education Council, and we were going through the different classrooms. Sure enough, there was a picture that was drawn of Shakira and Mr. Charles in the classroom, and they were actually writing about Hell City and their visit to Hell City and what they had actually learned. And these are the little ones.
Yes.
Shakira's picture looked better than Charles. I I should have taken a picture to carry back, but then that is really heartening to see as you're walking through classrooms that it's actually impacting, and kids are writing about it and are getting excited about the various programs. And also, just to mention, with the virtual field trips, when we first started the virtual field trips, it's when primary schools, if they weren't able to get to us, we're like, all right, what product can we give them to at least still give them a taste?
Mm-hmm.
And where it really came in handy was COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though we had to pivot during COVID and figure out if we were going to continue the program, we were like, you know what? We can tweak it and continue the program. So throughout COVID, we had on-demand videos, we had virtual field trips, we had students speaking to doctors. So we still during COVID had one of the best program years because we had already built our infrastructure to do things virtually. And it still came in very handy. But as Shakira said, there's nothing like in person. So we always look forward to getting the kiddos into the hospital to be able to see it for themselves.
Nice.
And then
Wow.
it's about just clearing up misconceptions, Sandy. Like sometimes students come and they're like, but miss, how can I do a surgery while I'm awake? And I'm like, but that's why we have the anesthesiologist. So they get to learn about all of these different doctors and the roles they play in, carrying out the treatment of patients. And then just like on campus field trips, primary schools, science fairs, again, we offer that just as a way of the elevation of STEM amongst our schools. We've always had high school science fairs. So we have, Clifton Hunter High School, we have John Gray High School, but primary school science fairs would have been one of the newest products that we had. Initially, when I first reached out to the primary schools, we had, a good number on board, but this program year would have been particularly special for me because we had a clean sweep across Grand Cayman for primary school science fair. So there was no primary school that did not have a science fair, a Health City sponsored science fair. And again, that's just our way of saying that we are focused on the elevation of STEM. So kids come out, they do their projects, they can explain their hypothesis, the methods they would have used to carry out their experiment. So what was their independent variables? What was the dependent variables? What did they keep the same? What did they change? What they had initially predicted, and then coming down to their conclusion to see if they were correct about their prediction or if they weren't. And even if they weren't correct, it's about being able to explain the process and how it would have demonstrated overall. So we have something like, for me, we obviously sponsor the awards, and I like to do the best presenter award because sometimes a student might not have had the top project, but because of how they could have explained and present their project, I believe that's also important. And then we have the Kids' Choice Awards, where I didn't even know that every primary school had a partner school. So like Eastern Primary partner school is Edna Moore, which should have been Northside. And then Theoline Primary has a partner school, which is Joanna Clark Primary, Savannah Primary. So they all partner. When they have these science fair, each school goes over to one of those schools, and they get to choose the Kids' Choice and vote on which project they thought was really outstanding. But it doesn't stop there. So even after getting the clean sweep in Grand Cayman of primary school science fairs, I was sitting at my desk and I was saying something still doesn't feel right. So, sometimes you're there, like you accomplished something, but something is left behind. And then I remembered, the Sister Island came and brought. We didn't get them in, right? So I had reached out to them the last program year. They said, let's circle back. It's something we can speak about. And I went back to them and I said, hey, can we get Creek and Spot Bay and West End Primary to partake in one of our science fairs? It would be a good initiative. Big shout out to Ty. He's always been there and helping with the communication. And, needless, long and short is on June 25th and 26th, I'm going to be in Cayman Brac for West End Primary School Science Fair and Creek and Spot Bay. So that means you would have gotten a clean sweep across the Cayman Islands. So I'm really pleased about that. And I'm excited to see what the kids are going to do, because they always do just amazing projects. And it's clear to see that, these kids, that creativity and innovation can happen at any age. And we're sparking this from primary, and we're going and continuing straight to high school. So that would have been the science fairs. Another, this month we're going to have work experience for Clifton Hunter High School. And not only do we partner with the public schools, but we partner with the private schools. So we have St. Ignatius coming in this month, and also, again, Clifton Hunter. But again, back to the Sister Island, we have a student coming over from Lehman Scott High School this month to complete her work experience here in nursing also at Health City. So we offer work experience. And again, that's just getting in, being able to shadow for that week in an area that you would have been interested in. And seeing if it, again, sparks something, or even if you're discerning a career in medicine. And then the most popular of, of one of our products, I like to say, the only one that students pretty much know by name is our Shadow a Doctor. It's one of my favorite programs because it doesn't necessarily tie you to the program. It's just 2 days and you don't get stuck. Because I know a lot of students, they're still discerning, right? So this program leaves a lot of room for discernment. If you're still undecided, you don't know if medicine is something you want to do, but you can come in, each time just for 2 days, and you get to each time pick a different specialty. So maybe you came in the last time for 2 days in cardiology and you found that, I really didn't like that. So you come back again and you do physio, and you say, well, I want to try something else. And then you come back again and you do medical ICU, or, you just try these different areas. Our Shadow a Doctor program is offered during school breaks, so I think that the students would have had, like you guys like to say, we would have had much more school breaks than you guys would have had back in the day. So they're always coming for Shadow a Doctor. Every midterm break, Easter break, they get an opportunity to. The program offers a lot of flexibility. I have a student who's homeschooled, and she's flexible, and she comes, most of the times at any time that she requests. And the doctors are very accommodating in terms of, we send in a request and they're always willing to take the students to shadow in the different areas. And so, then last but not least.
Yes. I said so much going on. Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
So it's a lot of programs. Last but not least, we have the STEM Day Camp. STEM Day Camp happens every August. I think this year it's the 10th or the 12th, whenever the Saturday falls. We have STEM Day Camp coming up. And then that again would have been our way of just focusing on the elevation of STEM amongst our, our students. And we do so. We try to tie science into it, but then tie it back to medicine. So, for example, we would have had like the water and oil experiment where the kids can see them, the water and the oil floating, and why density matters and why they don't mix. But then we tie it back to say, well, this is why certain medication doesn't mix. So we always try to push science, but then we always try to tie it back so students can understand it from a medical perspective, because not all the time, our nurses are going to be able to come out, or maybe our radiographers and stuff. But we still have a doctor come in and give a lecture on that day for STEM Day Camp, and they have many different activities that day that focus on the elevation of STEM.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that run through. Ms. Kathy says, thank you for thinking of the sister islands. So appreciated. Many times they're left behind. So I'm really glad to see that they were included. Now, is it just the public schools that get the benefit of these programs, or do some of the private schools get included as well?
No, we partner with our private schools. So we do like the private schools have access to on-campus field trips, careers, fairs. We go out to the private schools. I should have said that, St. Ignatius. We go out to Cayman Prep, Triple C. We participate in careers fairs with them. We have, like I said, this month, St. Ignatius is coming over for work experience. They get access to all of our on-demand videos. And it's pretty much about, any partnership that they want to partake in. Then we try our best to not only focus on public, but we try our best to do public, private, primary and high. So they have access to our products as well. And we do so a lot of our Shadow a Doctor students in particular come from the private schools.
Okay. Brianna, what are you looking forward to learning your current internship? What are you looking forward to learning this time around?
Well, this will be my third summer at Health City. And so you would think, maybe she's tried so many departments now. She has the hang of things. But just yesterday, my first day starting with the Healthcare Explorers, I was introduced to, I'm in physiotherapy this week. And the physio brought me into the ICU. And I was able to, see the patients in intensive care. And, these are very sensitive cases. So you see how the physio has to adapt and work with these patients very carefully. and the different, tubes that are connected here and there and how you have to work around it. And so I was introduced to a whole other side of physio that I didn't have any experience in or much knowledge of per se. So I'm very excited to keep learning, growing in both professionally and personally, because you also have to manage your emotions and learn how to, not get too overwhelmed by what's happening around you. And so this experience really helps me to, prepare for the future and what I will have to deal with when I become a physiotherapist.
Wonderful. So it's just amazing to hear you say that there's always something new to learn, and that's in so many ways that's life. Like if you stop learning, something's wrong, right? So that's really fantastic to see you back at it again, and we hope that you enjoy your internship. We do have a little video that we're going to play as well, but before we get to that, Shamari, perhaps we can talk about some of the HCE partnerships. Of course, Shakira mentioned the private schools, the public schools, especially government schools. But it's not just that. I know you do quite a bit with the University College of the Cayman Islands, and of course, talk some about their nursing school.
No, definitely. So we've UCCI has had a great nursing program that we also play a portion of. Other hospitals are also involved in that program, but outside of that, we want to make sure that we are celebrating our students that achieve. So we have various awards and even at times cash prizes for various students within UCCI that achieve at different levels of nursing. And not only that, we also are currently working with, I can't tell you what it is, but working with UCCI on another program that's definitely going to benefit young people in the Cayman Islands as well. And we sponsor a lot of the awards throughout the government schools. And a lot of times we talk about the government schools, and obviously that's near and dear to our hearts. But we also work with the private schools. But for the most part, when it comes to awards, as of now, we are definitely trying to, from a STEM perspective or a science perspective, to actually give the top or the most improved types of recognition with the trophies, but also other either sizable gift vouchers, or if it made sense, cash as well, that the students that are going overseas can use to benefit their studies. So we just look at various ways of giving back, and through whether it's trophies and or grants and or various levels of monetary types of awards, we go ahead and do that within the government and within some private schools as well.
Fantastic. All right, let's watch a little video that we've got here.
Health City has been sponsoring us for our third consecutive year now, and so we are really, really grateful for them. They have sponsored us financially. They have sent us equipment that we're able to use at our different booths.
This STEM fair sees that all the year groups come together, and whatever they're presenting is actually a topic that they're doing in class.
Health City has been contributing to our STEM fair for the past 3 years. It has been a major contribution. Without them, we would not have this STEM fair because it would not have been possible.
My project, it was about properties of matter. So in math, you have to use strategies like addition, subtraction, and multiplication. And in chess, it's the same as you have to use strategy. I would say the most fun booth would probably be the animal pet zoo.
Aw, I'm going to support that about the animal pet zoo. I'm all on board. Oh, it's so good to see children like learning, and sometimes they don't even know that they're learning. They're just having fun with it. And I think that's what a lot of the STEM, projects and stuff allow our kids to do. So thank you so much to Health City Cayman Islands for coming back on today, talking about their Explorers program, growing from strength to strength, now in their 11th year. So we're going to really, encourage Brianna to have fun this summer and to learn lots. And of course, thanks to Shakira Connor and Mr. Shamari Scott and your entire team, because I know there's other team members who make sure that your programs go off without a hitch.
No, definitely. I mean, a huge thank you to
Sandy.
all of the medical professionals within Health City, that they also see this as a part of their mission and understand that giving back by helping our young people to be able to have quality types of programming within a healthcare environment is a part of their job as well. But they do it because they want to do it, and they do it because they love doing it. And as Shakira would have mentioned, any phone call, once they're available, they'll make themselves, ready and available to answer any questions, especially if young minds are sparked. So we thank all of our medical professionals within Health City. And now that we even have our Caymanian physiotherapist, who it was great when we were able to actually take her to the schools, right? So then young people were seeing somebody who looks like themselves, who is a Caymanian, that was able to achieve and to ask all the different questions and to see themselves as being able to actually achieve as well. I think that's important. And that's why we love having Melanie as part of the team to help to spark some more of those minds. And I think she may have done a little bit of sparking with Brianna as well. And we hopefully will have Brianna back successful in the medical sphere, and also helping us to incentivize and show other young Caymanians that they can achieve in healthcare as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a beautiful day. Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks, that's Health City for you. Lots of initiatives going on over there. Make sure if you've got young people who could benefit from any of these programs, if for some reason you're not hearing about it, reach out to the team. I'm sure they could give you additional information about how to do that through your schools. But yes, I absolutely love it. And good luck to Miss Brianna. She's completed the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship back in July of 2023 as an A-level student at Cayman Prep in high school. And now look at her. She is now a Bachelor of Science student in sports science, a sports science candidate, at the University of Essex. And she's completing another 1 month in Explorer internship at Health City Cayman Islands, focusing on physiotherapy, orthopedic surgery. Oh, wait a minute. Shamari, did we forget to do a giveaway? Uh-oh, can I pull you back in? I think you did promise me one today. Ooh, hopefully he hasn't run off from the computer. Yes, I forgot.
God as well. Yeah.
Yes, we got to do a giveaway. And I did want to, we had a little bit of a comment here and question perhaps from Jim. He says, good morning, Sandy, and to today's guest. I've noticed since opening the Camana Bay Hospital, the services at Health City High Rock, East End, no longer offer particular services ahead of seeing your doctor, like blood pressure, temperature weighing, has now been placed on the doctors, which are being pulled back and forth between the two locations. Will these services return back at Health City East End? Don't get me wrong, the staff of medical professionals and others there remain the best, I'm sure is what he said. But what's going on there?
So that might just have been some scheduling challenges, because so the doctors actually do, well, you would have seen the Camana Bay location, right?
Yes.
And where we bring everyone to the patient versus the patient going back and forth. So based on more or less streamlining of what we are doing, we at times, depending on the type of ailment you have, the doctor is who is going to do those measurements while they're going to speak to you and have the consult. So that's just a change in process, has nothing to do with the two locations. But when we first started, then we were working out the schedule between OPD of some of the doctors in East End, who then also had in Camana Bay. So that probably is just a little bit of a scheduling bump, but we've smoothed that over. We worked through that. And now we have specific days that the docs are available in East End and specific days that the docs are available in Camana Bay. And some are located in one or the other. But we are able to offer both services in both locations. It may just be specific days to schedule it you in. So I'll go ahead and just make sure I look into what I think his name was Jim, what Jim was saying. But I know it would have been a scheduling challenge at the front end, but we've smoothed those bumps out.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Jim. So, what are we giving away today, or
All
what's
right,
the
so we are
question?
giving away. Well, we have to give away an executive health check because
Yes.
last time I promised, I think there were 2 people who wanted
Yes.
to listen in, to call in. So the question that I have is, in our 11 years, I only said it once, so they may not get it. In 11 years, how many quality interactions have we had within Healthcare Explorers? This year alone, we had X amount, which I said was a record, but I had mentioned at the front end that we had over X amount of thousand quality interactions within our Healthcare Explorers program. You had to be listening at the beginning.
All right. So the phone line's 936-2626. You got to call in. You got to call in. Those of you who've been begging me for one of those health executive checks, now is your chance, honey child. Don't miss out. You know, my neighbor was telling me just this weekend, she said she wanted to update me. She kept forgetting that she had such a great experience at her executive health check. Oh, caller, good morning. Or are you listening? Uh-oh, hold on. I cannot hear you. Hold on. Hello? Oh no, hold on. Let me just try to plug you back in. Hi. No, still can't. Oh my gosh, I still can't hear you. All right, let me put you in speakerphone. I'm gonna put you in speaker so we can get you. All right. Do you think you know the answer, caller?
Yes, ma'am. Is it over 65,000?
That is correct.
Just like that. Just like that. That was so easy. Congratulations. Let me take down your number. Hold on one second. I see other people trying to call in. We have got a winner already. So folks, make sure that you tune back in on, you said the end of the month, Shamari, you're going to do 11 different giveaways?
So the last Tuesday, we're going to have 11 giveaways.
Okay. All right. Well, caller, congratulations. When was the last time you did an executive health check?
In February, March.
Okay. Oh, this year.
This year, yes.
So you're good. You're good. All right.
Yes.
So maybe you can save this one up for your annual one next year.
I have one in August. I have to go back in August.
Oh, you have to go back in August. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Wonderful. So this will definitely come in handy. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
All right, my dear. Bye-bye. So look at that. She's going to be able to use that right around the corner. Shamari, I was telling you that my neighbor wanted me to pass this message on to you because she had such a fabulous experience doing her executive health check. And she said everything was, the customer service was wonderful. The doctors were great. They always give us areas that we need to improve upon that we can sort of do on our own. And of course, she got her little bucket list of things, exercising, trying to walk at least 30 minutes a day or most days. And so she said that she's actually now recommended some coworkers as well to join in and, get out there and get their executive health checks done. It really gives you a good idea of where you stand. And I think that that's so important. I was reading something yesterday, folks, that said 40% of all cancers are preventable, which means we're talking about lifestyle changes, right? So, you get these executive health checks, what bad habits you've got perhaps that we all need to be working on. Shamari, thank you so much for that prize.
No problem.
That winner appreciates
so
it.
Last Tuesday in June. We'll see you again. Another
all right. Fantastic. Thank you so much. V the Money says, do you pay for healthcare in Cayman? Everybody pays for healthcare. Trust and believe directly and indirectly. Everybody pays. So yes, we pay health insurance. Somebody was asking about the hours for urgent care. Okay, let me get that information for you directly. Let me see. I'll get that for you. Not a problem. So yes, everybody pays for healthcare, and you pay for it whether you're thinking about it You know, county jail. So you're paying health insurance, you're paying your co-pays and stuff. And this is why, quite frankly, we all need to do a bit more in terms of what we can control, right? Everybody's got bad habits. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I posted something this weekend about cannabis gummies. Have you guys seen the latest research on this? And some of you, well, I know that you guys get a little bit, you get in your feelings anytime it has anything to do with marijuana. And, you know, for me, you don't have to get in your feelings. It just is what it is. We're learning new things every single day. Certain things, you know, you can't digest in a safe way. We're learning more about plastics, for example. So now I'm starting to cut out water bottles as much as I can. And my girlfriend was saying to me, Sandy, oh my God, what is it now about the water bottles? And I said, apparently the plastic in those is really seeping through our bodies, right? And they're beginning to discover all of these microplastics in our bodies. And this is important because it's getting in our brains and it can contribute to other illnesses and all that sort of stuff. But whenever we mention marijuana, you guys just don't want to believe the data. You're like, nope. I'm not going to believe that, Sandy. Somebody got that wrong. Well, you know, okay. As they learn more about these things, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, gummies didn't exist. So the research is kind of catching up. There's studies being done specifically for these products. And I think that you guys need to pay attention. You need to pay attention to the foods that we're eating, a lot of the unhealthy things, the amount of sugar that we're consuming in our diets and all these, you know, sodas. Remember one time diet sodas were all the rave. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I love me a diet soda. That's going to help me lose weight. Now, diet soda is worse than regular soda. You know, they're like, it's not a better alternative. In fact, it looks like it's worse because of how your body reacts to essentially what, you know, or like these fake sugars. So as the research comes out and as I learn stuff, I like to share it with people. So I'm a water bottle kind of person because you guys know I don't really drink a lot of water. So if I'm on the go, I'll just grab a water bottle and try to chug that down if I'm outside and so forth. And now that I'm learning that, you know, those water bottles are not healthy, I'm trying to have more of my, if I'm at home, you guys see it every morning here, I have my little reusable cups. I've got tons of these. Let me take a sip right now because I know I don't drink enough water. But yes, I've been trying to, I use reusable cups at home. But if I'm on the go, I would tend to pick up a water bottle. Now the research is saying you better put that water bottle down. And I'm like the worst person because I'll leave it in a car where it's like in the heat. That changes the composition of the plastic and then I still go drink it. So I'm learning and I hope that you guys are learning as well. Here is the latest on gummies. Hear this. I found this uber interesting.
It's legal here. And everywhere you go in New York, you see these big businesses where they're selling all this stuff, but it's not good for you.
And of course, this study was done in California, University of California, San Francisco, a great institution, looked at what happens to your arteries, what happens to your blood vessels when you smoke pot or even if you eat edibles. And it found it stiffens your blood vessels, the inner lining of it, increasing your risk for heart attack, stroke, and high blood pressure. Now, we already knew that if you smoke pot regularly, and we're talking about 60 million people in this country smoking it regularly or using edibles regularly, have a problem with behavior, have a problem with thinking, have a problem with test scores, have a problem with their lungs because it's toxic to the lungs. But guess what it does to your blood vessels? The same thing as cigarette smoke does. So if you think, oh, I'm not going to smoke cigarettes, but I can smoke pot regularly, do just as much damage. And of course, legal in 24 states. 39 states have some kind of medical use, which is always overblown, too.
Wowee. So that is interesting, to say the least. I'm not surprised about the smoking part. I am surprised about the gummies, though. Go and have a look at the research. As he said, California, which has now a whole breadth of data that's available because it's legal there. You can just go in a pot shop and get it all over America. Like when I go to New York, I see, all the cannabis shops and cannabis smoking and whatever. Smoking nothing. I knew that. I mean, that's just really, really common sense that there's nothing that you could possibly smoke that would be healthy for you. But this one kind of surprised me about the gummies. All right, we're going to get an update here from Mr. J. Mr. J, good morning, Big J. How you doing?
Good morning.
Yes, we just wanted an update to see what was going on with the situation with the guys on the boat.
Okay, well, the last update that I got, the Honduras Coast Guard was in touch with a boat named JR something that was supposed to reach to them 5 o'clock this morning. I just spoke to the captain. And the captain said he not see nobody showed up as yet. So he's still there in the same position, anchored down, and just waiting. Say he didn't see anybody come as yet. Cayman Coast Guard sent me the update, basically saying the same thing,
So fingers crossed. That
fingers crossed
they'll get, because now we see this weather obviously taking a turn, at least here, for the worst.
He said the only thing that happened, he said last night the weather eased down and then it coming back up in the morning here now. So he said I had a bad night, but they really would like to get towed into some safe harbor. They're supposed to tow them into Swan Island. And then my responsibility now would get the propeller and stuff to Swan Island for them. But then I move it. They're still anchored down in the same position.
Right. All right. We're going to continue to keep them in our thoughts for sure that this gets resolved soon.
Man, for sure.
All right, my dear. And thanks so much for the update. I really appreciate it.
Okay. No problem.
So that was, yes, you too. That was a little bit of an update from following up from yesterday's show for sure. Jim said, isn't it over-the-counter gummies and not medically prescribed gummies? It doesn't matter, apparently. Now, listen, these are the facts. Some 52.5 million people in the United States of America use cannabis, have used it at least once in a single year. That's according to 2021 data from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And it comes in different forms, obviously. And cannabis has a direct effect on the brain, specifically the parts used for learning, decision-making, emotion, memory, reaction time, coordination, and attention. Okay, so people use it for recreational use. They say it makes them calm and whatever. And then there are other people who are using it, they say, for prescribed use for medicinal purposes. Let me be very, very clear. The legalization of marijuana in these countries, different state by state, but it certainly means that a lot more people have had access to it. The research demonstrates that long-term cannabis use in any form, has been linked to a greater risk of heart disease. Now, this study, this is a new study that's out, researchers at UC San Francisco determined that eating edible cannabis, such as gummies, has the exact same effect on cardiovascular risk as smoking marijuana. You see, I said this was a surprise to me, honey chill. I didn't quite expect it. I really thought, really? Yes, you can go and have a look at the report for yourself. Oh, my apologies. I'd open a new window and it started playing some commercial. All right, so it's in the JAMA Cardiology publication, May 28th. So you can go and have a look at it. The risk stems from reduced blood vessel function, according to the study. And of course, we know blood vessel function impacts your heart, cardiovascular, but it also impacts the brain, strokes, and things like other dementia, Alzheimer's, other memory type diseases and stuff as well. So the group was divided into two separate, the study group was divided, my apologies, participants into three separate groups. Those who regularly smoked marijuana, those who ate edibles containing THC, and those who didn't use cannabis. And they studied them for a period of time. And this is what, caller, you got all kind of background noise, so let's take your call.
Me?
Yes, you. I'm
Oh,
hearing
it
all
might be
kind of,
the,
I don't know
it
what
might
that
be the
noise is.
rain.
The ring in your phone?
Let
You're calling from a landline or what? Sometimes those landlines can.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, sir. Oh, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, it might be the rain. Right. No, I don't know. I don't know that
Wait a
report.
minute.
That report is
You
wrong.
getting rain and you in Cayman-Brac?
No way.
Oh,
No way.
I'm missing the
I live
voice.
here in Lowell.
Oh, my
Yeah.
apologies. You kind of sounded like
Anna,
Curtis for a minute there.
how you doing today? I got
Okay.
the good morning, Anna.
Yes.
So
You
you
sounded like
recognize
Curtis
my
a
voice?
little bit. Yeah. I was like, wait, Irene and Cayman-Brac, well, God, they need it. Cayman-Brac is so dry. Well, you said you think
They
the
had
study
it
is wrong.
yesterday. I think they had a little bit yesterday. Or
They had a little
last
bit
night.
yesterday. Oh, that's good because they need it.
No, I was saying about that report. That report is wrong. I don't know, these scientists do all kind of stuff and they don't really know what about it. You drink the marijuana tea, that's the healthiest thing in the world. So that report said in any form. So you drink the tea, that's the healthiest thing in the world to do. It gonna clean your arteries. It gonna calm you and do all the kind of stuff.
So how do you know it cleans the arteries?
Without the charge.
How do you know it cleans the arteries? Where'd you get that information from?
Because I study it. When I went to Jamaica, some Rastafarian man and thing told me to study
Now
these things.
listen, Bobo. You
and
know
the chalice. You do the chalice too. The chalice is none of it because you're using water. Water gonna keeping down the smoke.
So a Rastafarian man gave you advice.
Rastafarian doctor, yeah, butcher doctor.
Well,
I'm telling you the truth.
You got to see my face right now and how I'm giving you a side eye going, come on now, Bobo.
No, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
And which degree did he get? Which degree did he get that degree from? The Rastafarian School of Smoking Marijuana? Hard Knocks. Love it. All right, honey child. You have to leave me there.
The tea no hurt to you.
I hear you.
You don't even get a charge or anything from the tea. Just get the total medication from it.
Okay.
And the chalice too. The chalice in as bad as the rock smoke because the whole process of the chalice keeps it down. So they got restart it up. Okay.
All right, baby. All right. So he said he must redo the study because his Rastafarian herbal doctor told him something different. Side effects linked to higher risk of heart attacks, high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular conditions. I'm going to leave the link here so you guys can go read the report for yourself and see how that stacks up to the Rastafarian guy. Because yes, maybe you can compare one versus the other and then come to your own conclusions. So this one is called Association of Endothelial Function. Endothelial function with chronic marijuana smoking and THC edible use, which was specifically looked at. The key points that they were trying to find out, the questions they were asking, is chronic cannabis use associated with endothelial dysfunction? And their findings in a cross-section of participants, vascular endothelial function was impaired in both chronic marijuana smokers and aka THC. It's a long word. It's tetrahydrocannabinol. So tetrahydrocannabinol, that's what THC stands for. Edible users, whereas serum for marijuana smokers, but not THC edible users, blunted nitric oxide production in cultured endothelial cells. Oh my God. So it said that endothelial dysfunction, which that's your vascular, the veins there, blood flow, dysfunction was observed in otherwise healthy cannabis users, suggesting an increased risk of early development of vascular disease. Wow. Anywho, check it out. I'm going to give you guys, you can read the full text. I'll send you the link here for the abstract, and then you can read the full text article and take away something for it. Am I going to believe this type of study over the Rastafarian guy in Jamaica? Let me think about that for a second. Hold on. Let me think. Think hard, Sandy. Rastafarian, bush medicine guy, study, double-blind study. Yeah, sorry, but probably the association of, All right, but these things are subject to peer review, and I'm sure people will pick it apart. There'll be people who will study it. They'll do broader sample sizes, et cetera, et cetera. So stay tuned. But what I would say is, as them old people put it, you can't hear, you can feel. Okay. Lots of things killing us, sugars, or diet, lack of exercise. There was another study the other day about sitting too much. In fact, it said even if you regularly exercise, sitting, even for regular exercisers, is killing us. We have got to get up during the day. You got a desk job, get up and move. Yes, you got to get up and move. Even though you said later on, I'm going to be in the gym, I'm going to be working out, still get up and move during the day. Uber important. Marshall says, so this caller is now a scientist or taking advice from a Rastafarian up in Jamaica. Jesus, take the whole bus. What a mess. Listen, I get it. We all have these thoughts about, what we think about this, that, and the next thing. Because, my mama told me, you put that baby in this position, she can just be fine. And then, 20 years later, we know that that position is associated with higher risk of SIDS in babies. Is it SIDS? Sudden infant deaths, yes, and stuff like that. And you got to make adjustments. Y'all were feeding babies cornmeal porridge from the time they were 2 months old. Oh, just put that in the bottle, child. That's not gonna kill him. Well, it might not have killed some, but it may have killed some. We would never know. And so the more you know, the better you do, is what I say. And it is tough. Let me tell you something. When I became a mother, I was Dr. Google and everything because, I only had the one. So Lord Jesus, I wasn't about to try and kill her in infancy. I was doing my best to follow good medical advice. And then my mother-in-law came to stay with me. And of course, they had their stories. She's got 4 boys. She's like, oh, they're fine. And I said, okay. But I'm gonna follow what modern medicine tells me to do. And so there's always people as young parents, I'm sure the same thing will probably happen to my daughter eons from now when she has a child of her own. She'll be telling me stuff and say, no, mom, this is no longer good medicine. I'm like, are you sure about that? But I'll be honest with you. I have a brain type, personality type, perhaps, where I always will say the experts. I will bow out to the experts because most of us are not experts. We're trying to pretend like we're experts, but we're not. And so, I'm the first one to hold up my hand and say, nope, I'm not an expert. I will accept what the expert says. I know Irvelyn, she's talking about the water bottle. She's like, oh my God, do not leave water bottles in the car and then drink it. I know. Sometimes I'll be drinking it hot because by that point I'm so dehydrated and thirsty. Miss Sue says water all day for me too till it's wine time. Lord have mercy. Magdalene says preach and some cussing about this weekend. What happened this weekend? So Jim says, where do you drink your water from? Well, I do bottled water, like the big bottles at home. I am assuming those are better than the small bottles because it's a different type of material that they're actually made out of. But, they tell you the simplest thing is just put a filter in your tap water and you're good. You're absolutely fine with that. So, yeah. All right. Marshall says, what them old people say you can't hear, you'll feel. Well, these people have a new philosophy. They say you can die from something. They say something could kill you. And I said, well, I get that. And, I'm trying to hang on for as long as I can. I chuckle when I see people who battled like cancers and they were smokers. And then they jump in like, yeah, something could kill you. I'm like, yes, apparently 40%. of us, our actions are killing us. Our diet, smoking, lack of exercise. 40% of all cancers are preventable. That's wild. That to me is like mind-blowing. Wow. Preventable, not treatable, preventable. That's pretty wild. So we're decriminalizing it, which I think maybe we're decriminalizing it. I do think that that's going to have an interesting impact on how people start to see it in terms of use as well. Because, yeah, be the money. I do have some concerns about that. Because people have a very lackadaisical attitude about it, even in jurisdictions where it's decriminalized. And we saw the police commissioner, who, by the way, is coming in the show tomorrow. He said that as well, that they do have concerns about how decriminalization is going to open up, potentially. And this is where the last government, nobody was having these conversations. I know we were hyper-focused on the port because that was kind of the big one, but no one was really having the conversations around even decriminalizing marijuana. And how does that change the mindset of people in your community? People are going to feel like, oh, well, if I get caught with a little spliff now, it's not a big deal. They're more likely to start smoking more and more, and in public places and around people and around children. And, I don't like to go to certain public places because as soon as you enter the area, you smell it. There have been times I've been out of my pickleball court and there's somebody in the neighborhood who's smoking it. It doesn't stay in your little area when you're smoking it. It travels into other people's yards and I can smell it. And I shouldn't have to be in my backyard getting a headache because you're smoking marijuana in your backyard. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on. And there's no way to control that, especially with smoking it. What a mess. So Candy says, well, if him get it from the Rasta, he ain't G. What does that mean? Jamie says, years ago, I went to a party where they were celebrating a man's birthday. They handed out a cake that had marijuana as an ingredient, and many of us suffered symptoms such as rapid heart rate, dizziness, and tachycardia. Tachycardia. Obviously, cardia, something with the heart. Let's look this word up. Tachycardia. T-A-C, let me see. T-A-C-Y, cardia. Oh, let's see what this is. So it is increased heart rate for any reason. Oh, arrhythmia, abnormal heart rhythm. So just by eating the cake, you could feel a difference almost immediately. Interesting. Wow, Jamie. Certainly, I hope they told you beforehand that that's what was in it, because there are people who do get violently sick even from eating anything that has cannabis in it. Via the Money had a good laugh. He says he thinks he knows everything about cannabis because he met a Rasta. Well, the Rasta man tell him the tea is good for you, honey chill. So it must be good for you. All right. Do you have a metal? Do you have metal in it and cold cup? Keep water for. Oh, yes. Yeah, a lot of these cups. We actually have a few around here that are very good. There's one called, oh my gosh, what is that brand called again? There's a couple of these cups that I have here that will keep water cold for at least 24 hours. Keep ice in it, everything. Just leave it on the desk, room temperature, and they're fantastic. So Amjad is complaining about this is not Indian country, it is Cayman Islands. Amjad, can I just say something to you? This is a moment now when you have to really think carefully. As a person who is, because I know you don't have status, so you're still a visitor to our country. You've been welcome here to varying degrees. If I were you, I probably wouldn't say anything about any other nationalities in Cayman. I mean, honestly. You're from which country? Where are you from again, Amjad? Which Jordanian? You're Jordanian. You're Cayman's most famous Jordanian, because you're probably only one of a few. I don't know a lot of Jordanians here, but you're famous for other reasons. And so the community has tolerated you and put up with you. So I wouldn't really be picking at any other nationality if I were in your shoes. I would just keep it zipped. Zip it up, lock it, and throw away the key when it comes to that topic. You're not going to win any brownie points from Caymanians. Like, we don't care what a Jordanian has to say about an Indian person. Like, that's to us kind of stupid. We're like, you're in the same boat. But at least those people here at Health City are professionals, and they're adding value to healthcare. They're adding value to the community. So from my perspective, You know, they're not causing any trouble. They're not the ones calling in the radio, getting on our nerves and getting involved in politics and all kind of other foolishness. I ain't got nothing against those people. They're here working just like a lot of other people, not causing any problems. They're not committing any crimes. They're adding to the community. So I don't have one bit of problem whatsoever with them. But I do have a problem with you talking about them, about how they're taking over this country. So this is when you're a little bit tone deaf. I'm just saying. Read the room. And the room of 400 and something people right now is saying, zip it, lock it, and throw away the key on this topic. All right? Talk about something else. That ain't it. And no one is going to take you up on that. All right, Yeti is a good brand, Miss Marguerite. Yes, we have some of those and they're fantastic. But there's another one as well. I'll have to look at not the Stanley cups. I mean, they might be good, but there's another brand too that is very well insulated. But Yeti is excellent. We have a couple of the Yeti brand and they're very, very good. Morning, Miss Maggie. How you doing, honey chow? Let's see here. As someone who used to smoke, it's some of these researches be flawed sometimes. I'm confused. You used to smoke. Well, I'm glad you gave it up, but flawed how? Have you read the research studies? I'm just saying. Strong Wilt says, Sandy, and those Indians are so professional. Yes. I don't know what Amjad's talking about. But honey chow, like I said, no brownie points on that comment today. We're not paying you no mind. I'm just saying. All right. It is a wet morning all the way. I think the entire island is getting a good soaking, which we needed. So I appreciate it. Jim says, I'm not disagreeing with the studies in cannabis. However, it assisted in my sister's pain. Listen, we're not saying that at all. I mean, I don't think the study says that either. There are people who take it for pain management control, helping with nausea, especially if you're doing cancer treatments and stuff like that. It definitely helps with that sort of stuff. But that does not mean at the same time that it might not be having a negative impact on your health. It's just like when you take medication. You might be taking blood pressure medication to help with one thing, but admittedly, it is having a negative impact on something else as well. You just need to know. I think if you know, then you can, move from there with some knowledge. V the Money says it's raining in the UK. That's probably no surprise. Jim says Bubba cups and Tervis are both great insulated cups. Ooh, I don't think I've heard of. I think I've heard of the Tervis, but Bubba cups, I don't think I've heard of. Anthony's wondering how Amjad even survives in this country. He just be kicked around North Side bumming and tagging along with North Siders. Well, I guess somebody's feeding him. I don't know. Going in the bushes, eating all those delicious mangoes that are falling off the tree now. Jane says that she's well aware. Apparently he was responding to her. She says, I'm well aware of that. I've been here for 41 years and I'm married to Caymanian that I met at the old Holiday Inn when we were both 16. Ooh, honey child, young love. But I'm giving you the answer to your question, which quite frankly is the answer to a lot of the employment problems for locals in the Cayman Islands. Big business has taken over and the locals have fallen behind. Most employers actually aren't in the field. They're not big business. It's small to medium-sized businesses. And they're the ones who are hiring non-Caymanians equally as well. Big business has the cushioning room, like Health City, to have explorers programs, to have TVET, to do all these amazing things. The small businesses, not so much so. So what you find is they're going to just hire who they know going to show up to work, do the job, do it well, no questions asked. And sometimes that they can take advantage of them and they just keep it moving. So there you go. Can the experts answer what is most dangerous, drinking marijuana, tea, or drinking rum? Well, neither one of Can we say equally? You shouldn't drink either one. And we have talked about alcohol here in this program. And I'm not a proponent of alcohol drinking at all. And the more and more we see the evidence that has emerging over the past couple years, especially, there is now no such thing as any safe alcohol use. But I know that you guys throw that out there because you know that, oh, everybody drinks is what you say. Well, not everybody drinks, but I guess drinking it's legal and a lot of people do it. But you also have to know the ill effects of drinking. And if you've noticed, I am harping on that just as much as anything else, because the widely accepted use of alcohol in our community is something that needs to be countered with accurate information. So alcohol consumption has a lot of different health effects. And I don't mean drinking in excess. Obviously, that's worse for you. But there's a whole slew of things with liver disease, heart disease, stroke, non-communicable things that happen when you start drinking, brain damage, memory loss, thinking problems, digestive issues, pancreatitis, kidney disease, mental health. It's depression, anxiety, irritability, all sorts of mood disturbances. It can lead to alcohol use disorders, which affect you both physically and mentally, social and behavioral issues. It reduces your inhibitions, antisocial behavior, crime, embarrassment. Listen, there's no such thing as good alcohol. Sorry to all of my friends who are wine drinkers, rum drinkers. What else y'all drinking? Hard liquor drinkers. Without a doubt, more and more, the evidence is clearly demonstrating that it impedes your sleep. There's the National Council on Aging was just saying recently that although some people think that alcohol will make them fall asleep, it actually has a negative impact on your sleeping pattern. So it affects your blood pressure. Both alcohol and cannabis actually impact your blood pressure, my apologies, and not in a good way. There's a whole new government report that talks about as little as 1 to 2 drinks a day increases your chances and likelihood of several types of cancers. Now the drinkers are listening and thinking, well, Sandy, something's going to kill you. I'm going to pick up that bottle of rum again today. Choices. Ultimately, we all have choices, folks. And your choices, add up at the end of the day. And I know y'all think, oh, it's easy because you don't drink, you don't smoke. What do you know? I know what the scientists are saying, honey child. We now know that alcohol is a known cause of cancer. It's a carcinogen. Beer, wine, liquor, it don't matter. Check out the International Agency for Research on Cancer. We've got a 2024 study estimates that about 20,000 cancer-related deaths each year are due to alcohol consumption. That's direct, probably. Despite the clear evidence, over half of U.S. adults are unaware of the connection between alcohol and cancer. This is according to a new survey. And about 10% of those surveyed believe wine actually reduces cancer risk, which it doesn't. That's crazy. Can you imagine 10% of the population believe that? Yep. All right. In 2025, the U.S. Surgeon General, and I don't know if they're still there because Trump is hiring everybody with sense, but they recommended adding a health warning label to alcoholic beverages to increase awareness of the cancer risk. Dr. Kamath said, I'm always surprised that people aren't aware of the cancer-related risk of consuming alcohol. Perhaps it's because the media and advertising promote alcohol so heavily. How much does alcohol raise your cancer risk? Well, it depends obviously on how much you drink, the cancer type, and so forth, according to the National Cancer Institute. For example, the NCI reports that light drinking raises the risk of squamous cell carcinoma of the esophagus, commonly known as esophageal cancer, by 30%. Light drinking. How do they define light drinking? So it raises the risk of esophageal cancer by 30%. That's a huge increase. Heavy drinking raises the risk by 400%. Damn. Oh my gosh. That is an increase. That's a lot. Wowee. That's crazy. So they're still trying to figure out exactly how it does. So they think one theory is that alcohol increases the production of free radicals, right? And the excess free radicals cause what they call oxidative stress, which leads to changes in your DNA. So it actually damages the cells. So your body can repair that damage, but up to a particular point, but consistent exposure can overwhelm it. And then there's only so much the body can do. Another theory is that it's related to diet. So people who drink may have an overall unhealthy diet and may also be overweight and just have other unhealthy, habits. They don't exercise, etc. So that's also a compounding factor. Because you notice that when someone is unhealthy, they tend to have more than one bad habit. So a lot of unhealthy people are smokers, they're drinkers, they don't exercise, and they have a sedentary lifestyle. So it's like they have all of these compounded factors. Very few of us are just fat because we love food. And, we're exercising, we're doing all this other stuff. So you combine that with tobacco, you combine that with a sedentary lifestyle, a poor diet, and you got a hot mess of a situation. So we know that there's 7 most common types of cancers associated with alcohol use: breast cancer, colorectal cancer, mouth cancer, throat cancer, which includes both the upper throat and the voice box, esophagus, stomach, and liver. So those are your top 7 most common cancers associated with alcohol use. So what I'm telling you, folks, is don't throw it at me that, drinking's legal. That's not no argument in my book. Stop drinking. Drink once a year or very little. Marvin Mills having phone problems. What's going on? All right. Rogelio says what? Careful with the coyotes that want to, what is that? What is operar in Spanish? Operate? I don't know what that means. We need a translator. Thank you, Strong Will. He says, thank God for Health City. I mean, listen, more now than ever, we have the ability to have access to research and information. And I think that is so critical. That is so important because we can make better and more informed decisions. And it isn't just the educated few that have access to this stuff. We all can. You can go right now to these, the JAMA site, these health research organizations, and read on these things for yourself. Like there's another interesting study that came out recently that said the shingles vaccine has an unexpected effect on heart health, and it's in a good way. Go get your shingles vaccination. I did mine last year. I'm all good for shingles now. Yep. So chronic cannabis smoking and THC ingestion, because remember, a lot of people are like, well, I'll just do THC because that's healthier, have now been associated with endothelial dysfunction, impaired functioning of the endothelial cells lining the inside of blood vessels, similar to those observed in tobacco smokers, although occurring via different mechanisms. This is what the researchers said in this report. So the study enhances the understanding of the potential risk to vascular health linked to cannabis use and provides more evidence that cannabis use is not benign. So like I said, you might make a decision regardless to use it, but you have to know the side effects. You have to know the outcomes for you. Might be that, yes, it might help you with a pain, but then it's going to give you a heart attack. I'm just saying, once you know, you know. Dr. Bradley Serwer, who's a Maryland-based cardiologist and chief medical officer at Vital Solution, That's part of the NG Novus Health Company. Offers cardiovascular and anesthesiology services to hospitals nationwide, said that he was not surprised by the study's findings. He said, we have known that the chronic use of THC containing compounds can have negative health consequences. This study just reaffirms those prior studies. He, was not involved directly in the research, but they reached out to him for a comment. He says he's not surprised at all. So there you go. Interesting. Okay. Take it with a grain of salt, but take it. And of course, cardiologists say that once you know that there's a risk, then you should probably, act accordingly. So in other words, there's some benefits, but then there's also risk involved, as with most things in life, I suppose. Super interesting. All righty. If I haven't drank alcohol in 1 year, 3 months, and now happier being sober. That's good, V the Money Man. Amjad says, first, congratulations for this long life, happy life with nice companions. I agree with all you said. Thanks respectfully. All right. Just throwing it out there for you, and I'm glad you've perhaps now thought about it. Good morning to the beautiful Miss Brenda. She says the only good alcohol is grapes. Drink grape juice. Oh my goodness. Lucille says, so true, Sandy. You get tablets for one problem, it damages another part of the body. V the Money says alcohol may be worse than cannabis, in my opinion, but I'm biased. Well, thanks for admitting the bias. Evelyn says alcohol gives me a bad headache, and there's a reason why that happens, honey child. George is stuck in traffic daily is worse for your mental health than alcohol or marijuana. Not if you're listening to the cold hard truth. You get a moment of relief, and you get to laugh and giggle. And George, you gotta change your mindset. Enjoy that moment of being stuck in traffic to talk to your wife, your kids. I remember, listen to this. I remember when I first started dating Marlon and we moved in, some mornings he would drive to work with me because we actually work in the same place. And he was allowing somebody else to use his car because that's the kind of person he is, nice to a fault. And so we would share a car. We were carpool. Well, we were going the same place anyway, so it kind of worked out. And, yes, we'd be stuck in traffic. But that was a great opportunity for us to talk and really get to know each other. How many real, deep, meaningful conversations do you get to have every day with your loved ones? Not that many. So even, I don't do the morning run, but I do this after school run. So when I pick up my daughter from school, George, and I try to leave out a little bit early so we're not stuck in as bad a traffic. But she'll be like, Mom, did you bring the spare phone? Because she wants to sit and watch YouTube Kids. I said, nope, didn't bring it on purpose. I said, well, how was school today? Good. Oh, well, what did you do? Well, we're past the park. Mom, I actually fell over there this morning. You did? Oh my God, I didn't know you fell. What happened? Well, I was walking, looking at the beautiful plants and trees. And I said, Lord, have mercy. What is wrong with this child? She's always falling. And I wasn't paying attention. And then I didn't see the ground, Such amazing conversations. George says, that's okay if you're joyriding. I'm just saying that there's a lot of really great things that you can do in a little bit of traffic. I get that it's frustrating. I get it. Nobody loves traffic. But that's also a great opportunity to listen to a really, really, really good audiobook, podcast, learn something, honey child. I love it. Sandy says, make this song by Alan Jackson your outro this morning. Everything I live. Is it everything I live or everything I love is killing me? Ay. I know what you mean. Oh, surgery. Thank you. Operate surgery. Got it. How long does the shingles vaccine last for? I think you just take it and you're good for life, because by the time you're taking it, you're already like 50. So I'm going to ask, let me just confirm with public health, but I kind of think once you get it, you're good. I'll double check, Jim. Remind me tomorrow, because I'm going to send off the question. They have the beautiful nurse there, nurse. Oh gosh, nurse. I can't remember her name right now, but she is a wealth of information. I really love her. Oh my gosh. I love going there. Not that I like getting vaccines, but I love going there talking to her because she is just so incredibly smart, intelligent. I mean, yeah, she's amazing. Nurse Anna Rose. What's her name again? Oh Lord. Okay. Anyway, she's amazing. So really, really enjoy talking to her. Somebody's going to remind me of her name any second now. Nope. Not Joanna. Nurse, Canadian lady, probably in her 50s. Anyway, she's amazing. Nurse Annie K. There we go. I knew it was Annie something. Nurse Annie K. Price. She is absolutely amazing. So I will ask her this morning about the shingles vaccine. I want to interview her. She's so much fun. She's got a really sweet personality. Nurse Anna K. I knew it was Anna something. I was like, Anna Rabuz, Anna. All right. Very, very good. I got a physio appointment today. Yes, I will be there. Just got my little reminder email. Thank you so much. I need them to go work out my okay. I need them to go work out my legs for me. I can feel the tightness. Like yesterday I was walking and I could feel the calf muscles were tight. Everything was tight. So I was thinking to myself, yeah, and it impacts my knees and other things. So I'm going to go there and make some nice Canadian fella rub my legs for me. I think he's Canadian. I don't even know. He might be American. I don't even know. But anyway, he's great. I mean, he'll find just the spot and start to manipulate it. And then by the time, it hurts it hurts like hell while he's doing it. But once he leaves, put some nice, what's it called? The Voltaren or something gel. And man, once he leaves, I feel so much better. But the most important thing is he hold them up before bed against the wall. Yes, I think he's going to show me some stretches, and I think I need to be doing more stretches and stuff. I definitely need to be more limber. I hope Marlo hears you. Who the hell's Marlo? Oh, Marlon. Child, Marlon not going to do it. So he'll go to physio, honey child, is what he'll tell you. Pilates is good for stretching at our age. I want to try Pilates. I've never done Pilates. Where are you going? Really? My cousin says she's going. I want to find out because I do want to try Pilates because I know any sort of like stretching, Pilates, whatever is actually really, really good for you. So I'm all into it. Someone says, yes, Nurse Anna K. Johnson Price. She does have a sweet personality. But most importantly, she's extremely knowledgeable. Even last year when we were doing our South Africa trip, she told us what vaccines we needed, hepatitis, this, and this, and this. About the, when we said we were going into Zimbabwe, she says, oh, malaria, this is what you need to do. This is how you protect your clothing. I mean, very, very knowledgeable lady. Nurse Anna Price, love her. So this person says, good morning. I suffer from asthma, and some ladies I see at the HSA, patients, not the HSA staff, but patients, tell me to drink ganja tea and it will cure me. They said curse me, but I think you meant to say cure me. Haven't had it yet, as I'm not into that crap and against it. It was a no for me. Well, now you might want to think about it, because asthma and constriction of blood vessels probably don't do well together. I'll double check the vaccine. So listen, I want to talk about this fight video that has been circulating, but I got a lot of work to do today. I am so hyper-focused on getting stuff done as it relates to CMR TV. I got a lot of work to do. I'm working with my content creators. Just got a lot to do. And so what I will say is that I gotta focus through all this stuff. I'm excited because there's just so much going on with it. So I'm not gonna have super long shows at the moment. We're gonna cut it pretty close to 9:30. And I got a bunch of stuff on my to-do list. Yesterday, I was busy doing paperwork post-election. I'm still catching up on my company registration and putting in business licenses. I think I got another business license I need to renew. I need to double check, honey child. And I had to renew my driver's license yesterday because, child, that expired in April and I didn't even know it. Somewhere I went the other day and asked for my ID. I took it out. I was like, oh my God, my ID expired. So I've renewed that. So I've got meetings this week with clients and stuff. So I got a lot of catching up to do, a lot of stuff to do. So you'll notice that I'm going to be like, okay, show's over. See y'all later. Got to go. And that's okay. Because there are days when we go a long time with the overtime, but not today. And once we get that going and that's nice, smoothly running and whatever, we'll be fine. You guys are going to be so excited, I think, about some of the content. But I'm having to push the content creators. It does take a little bit of a mama push. Chug. Like, let's get it. You know, some of them don't believe in themselves. And I'm here to tell them you can do this. Of course, listen, there are a lot of people who didn't believe in me. And look at me now. I'm just saying. You can do this. Positivity, positive attitude, and a plan of action. You got to write stuff down. You got to come up with your plan. Okay, you're going to do this. You're going to get show sponsors. You're going to do this and this and that. Yes. And so I kind of am here to put it in their heads like, okay, this, and this needs to be done this week. Get it to me. Progress. So I do have to take a quick trip overseas. And what that means is maybe a weekend run. I'm not sure yet because I do have to pick up. I'm helping my content creators as much as possible. So anything that they need in terms of supplies, I'm like, get me your supply list because I'm bringing those things in for you. And then I just charge them the cost of it. I'm not really looking, I'm not making any money on them like that at all. So I'm here to help them. One of them said, but Sandy, when we sell or shows or whatever, what percentage you're going to take? I'm not taking anything from you guys. No, I'm here to ensure your success. Here to support you. I want you to succeed and get it, honey child, get it. So if you've ever thought about doing a show, and you've wanted to do it, and there's been something that has been stopping you, I am now here to tell you, don't let anything, and I do mean anything, stop you. You can do this. So message me, call me, WhatsApp me, something, and we can put you on the path to being part of the CMR community. Our slogan, which I think is fun and I love it, it's about community, is, let me get it. I want to say it just right. It's just this weekend that it came to me in terms of what the slogan should be for CMR TV and radio, or tagline. Okay. So it is, I just sent it to my designer the other day. Let me have a quick look. Hold on, hey child. It is connecting communities through content. That's what we're doing right here in CMR. And I love the fact that you can be anywhere in the world. So we have a Caymanian all the way in Europe. He is going to be doing a show. Yep. Isn't that amazing? So it doesn't matter where you are. We've got a Jamaican gentleman in Jamaica. He wants to do something for the Jamaican community, and he can join the CMR platform. We welcome diversity. We welcome Caymanians. We welcome non-Caymanians. Most of the people are going to be Caymanians. I mean, come on, it's Cayman Mall Road after all. We've got young Alfonso coming on board. Self-trained chef. I love it. He's going to be doing all sorts of cooking for us. We've got Mr. Dean. He's going to be doing pastry chefs, pastry cooking. We've got Paula, pastry. Oh my gosh. We're going to have a show feeding a family of 4 on a budget. A book club show. Oh, we had a meeting with them yesterday and a potential sponsor. And I must tell you that I am so tickled pink about it. It went well, and their name, concept, everything is just beautiful. And I know the host of that show, those of you who love anything literary, books, poetry, whatever, she is going to bring it home. I love, love, love it. Exposure, says this person, the high levels of sugar during the first 1,000 days of life. This is important because I know this as well. I've read this as well. From conception to 2 years old can significantly increase the risk of developing chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes and hypertension later in life. Research suggests that restricting sugar intake during this critical period can lead to long-term health benefit, including a reduced risk of those diseases and a delay in their onset. Isn't that amazing? That what you do with your child in the first 2 years of the child's life has a significant impact on what will happen to them as an adult. I know this for a fact. Well, because that's what the research has shown, and I believe the research. So you expose your children early on to sugary drinks, lots of cupcakes and whatever, ice cream. Before the age of 2, you're setting them up for a disastrous life because you're also training their taste buds. Beyond that, you're training their taste buds to like those things. And trust me when I tell you that sugar is a real addiction. Every day it's a conversation with my daughter because, gosh, she's got a sweet tooth. I say, okay, this weekend you're going to have one sugary thing, but she doesn't realize that that includes drinks. Oh, can I have that? Okay, but nothing else. And she's like, what? I'm like, you just had it. If you're requesting this, that's going to be it. If you want that ice cream, I can compromise. You can have the ice cream, but nothing else. Water for the rest of the weekend. It's tough, but this is the truth. This person says new parenting, but it makes sense. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. Name one place where decriminalizing has made a good impact on society and antisocial behavior. I drink because a drunk told me it was okay. That's funny. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I can't think of one place. I think, the research will demonstrate that as well. All right, so we're going to get going now. Cultural enrichment. I'm waiting on the cultural show. Miss, let me message her right now. We should be having a cultural show, but I'm waiting on them to say yay or nay. Yep. Pull the trigger. Let me know. A.L. Bratkeman says we need to pave a lot of roads, especially in Alta Vista, please. Where's your former minister for donkey years, Juliana O'Connor Connolly? She's got lots of time in her hands now. That woman has done very little for Cayman Brac. I was driving all over the Bluff Road the other day. I love Cayman Brac, actually. Mitzi says that also goes for fat intake. Well, you're setting kids up for for a lifetime of habits of dietary habits in any event. Parents think that they're doing their kids a favor, says Jim, but only harming them. The parent is doing it for themselves with sugars, poor snack choices, etc., and giving in. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Have a blessed and beautiful day. Tomorrow, we're going to have Mr. Kurt Walton in the studio at 8 o'clock. He's going to be here for about an hour. He's the Commissioner of Police, so get your questions ready for him. And yeah, we'll get updates on cases and whatever else we've got as burning questions. All right? Please have a safe day. Folks, it is raining. Raining means the roadways are wet, which means you need to slow down. Give yourself additional space between vehicles. Don't rear end anybody. Don't sideswipe anybody. Don't run anybody over on a bicycle or walking on the street. Slow down. Take your time. Stay off the phone. Look around you. Defensive driving, everybody. Bye-bye, honey child. You have a productive day as well. Toodaloo.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.